In recent years, before the release of the fourth generation, the Toyota RAV4 was far from the leader of the segment. Toyota, once wildly popular, was inferior to Koreans, Volkswagen Tiguan, and competitors from Nissan. In 2013, the situation, of course, changed. RAV4 is the second after Qashqai. But the former opponents are nearby. The difference in sales is far from twofold, and a generational change has already occurred for someone in the near future. So how should the legend of the Japanese car industry bribe its potential buyers? In Russia, the RAV4 is available with 3 engines. The 2-liter 3ZR-FE, which has now lost the continuously variable intake valve lift system, Valve-O-Matic, and lost 12 horsepower, the 2.5-liter 2AR-FE, familiar, for example, from the Toyota Camry. And, finally, with the diesel engine, which was well known in Europe from the previous RAV4. This is a 2.2-liter 2AR-FTV. The motors are disposable, with a timing chain drive, with phase shifters on both shafts, except for a diesel engine, and hydraulic valve clearance compensators. They are oriented to Euro 5 class fuel, to the frequency of oil changes after 10,000 kilometers, which is better to be somewhat reduced, viscosity 0W30, 5W30, and 5W40. Modern engines are very critical of oil cleanliness, but in our case, they start up well in cold weather. From the point of view of operation, the units have not yet been fully disclosed. Nevertheless, there are already some general observations and specifics for each of the motors. So, all engines are characterized by electronic failures caused by various reasons. In gasoline installations, it is periodically necessary to clean the throttle valve block, which, in a dirty state, provides poor starts and uneven operation. The chain, in principle, should serve until the end of the warranty, that is, 100,000 kilometers, but there have been cases when it had to be changed earlier. All this is more or less typical for all modern units. Diesel is characterized by the fact that, especially for the Russian market, it was deprived of a particulate filter. Minus one of the possible problems. The 3RZ asked for a replacement pump, which was leaking and noisy. And the petrol 2AR, obviously, went to the RAV4 from Camry after working on the bugs. Leaks of the front and rear crankshaft oil seals, as well as wedged clutches of the variable valve timing system that were encountered on the sedan, do not disturb the crossover. If we exclude external factors of influence, dubious fuel or, say, crooked installation of security systems, then so far the engines do not differ in malfunctions. The transmission has been studied better, although with one exception. The 6-speed automatic U760F, which is installed with the 2.5-liter engine, is still mysterious. There are no runs yet that could provide comprehensive statistics on it. They complain about a manual gearbox mainly in this context. In cold weather, the clutch pedal becomes tight. Let's leave it without comment. But the problems of the K311F variator, aggregated with the 2-liter engine, need to be commented on. Known on many other Toyota models, passenger cars, it experiences increased loads on the RAV4. Of course, off-road, which is contraindicated for CVT. If you practice frequent off-road sorties, then you should not be surprised that the key assembly will last a little longer than the warranty period. Or less, as you wish. In general, the variator can be sentenced quite quickly by slipping in subsequent hard, frictional contact with the surface. The K311 is also characterized by other troubles. For example, failure of the bearings of the primary and secondary shafts. This is obviously a design feature. The same can be attributed to the flow along the flange connecting the differential to the razdaka. Information about this is found. The U660F 6-speed automatic transmission is available with diesel. She is familiar from a number of models, in particular, Camry, which comes with a 3.5-liter V6 petrol. The box is problematic. With gentle operation, it is capable of nursing up to 150,000 kilometers, but aggressive driving can destroy it more than 1.5 times faster. It would seem that a 2.2-liter turbo diesel is no match for a volumetric gasoline. However, the torque of the 2AD FTV is only 6 Nm less than that of the 6. So the automatic transmission should be saved. Do not actively tear from traffic lights and do not move at high speeds for a long time. And at the first sign of inadequate work, immediately contact the service. Otherwise, the entire machine will have to be restored. All clutch packs, planetary gear sets, a torque converter, and a valve plate are to be replaced. You also need to take care of the rear wheel coupling. If it is not forcibly blocked in front of difficult areas, there is a risk of overheating. But there are no talks about any refusals yet. The suspension, consisting of a front McPherson and a rear double wishbone scheme, went to the current RAV4 from its predecessor. Everything is predictable and reliable. Bolted front ball joints, shock absorbers are ready to work dry for the entire warranty period. The springs will not sag for the same 100,000 kilometers. And yet there is one unpleasant moment. Some owners complain about the peculiar behavior of the rear suspension when driving over vertical bumps like tram rails. A tangible impact is accompanied by a sound. In addition, it feels like the suspension has been pulled back. This is typical for small empty trucks. Silent blocks were found guilty of such a feature. There was no recall campaign, but at the request of customers, the levers are changed to those with modified rubber elements. Another design nuance is the threaded part of the stabilizer strut sticking out under the rear levers. Sometimes they bend. RAV4 can strain and on trifles. Blooming and peeling chrome on the external elements of the decor. The creak of the driver's seat cushion. The creak of the steering wheel, which has been distinguished by spiral contact since the advent of the last generation Camry. Condensation leaks from sun visor mounts. It needs to be clarified. Something is connected with an aggressive operating environment. Something is extremely rare. Some nuances the owners of cars may not notice. Many flaws or few. The question, perhaps, needs to be asked from a different perspective. What is the operational hassle of the RAV4? It, unfortunately or fortunately, is typical for modern crossovers. Everything you touch, whether it is a clutch in the wheel drive, a variator, frank everyday life, machines, or electronic glitches, everything is now typical and, alas, predictable. In this, RAV4 is clearly no worse than its competitors. But it's definitely not worth singing praises to him, unless you can refer to its running and consumer qualities. In the minimum configuration standard, RAV4 relies only on a 2-liter engine. Equipment, from the category of everything you need, but no more. This is a stabilization system, only for 4WD, and assistance when climbing a hill, ABS, 6 airbags along with the knee for the driver, fog lights, heated mirrors, power accessories, immobilizer, heated front seats and glass in the wipers area, an audio system with 4 speakers and Bluetooth. At Comfort, the stabilization system is available with both types of drive. Also on the plus side are alloy wheels, light, rain and parking sensors, a rear view camera, a TFT display, a leather-wrapped multifunction steering wheel, cruise control and a 2-zone climate and music with 6 speakers. But the engine is still the same, as is the box, mechanical. But the drive is only full. In Comfort Plus, with the 2-liter gasoline engine, only a variator is offered. And the diesel RAV4 comes with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Of the options, Xenon and a descent assistance system have been added, only for 4x4. Elegance Plus, all-wheel drive without exception. The cost of RAV4 in this equipment depends only on the engine, 2.0, 2.5 or diesel, respectively. Additions include push-button start and smart vehicle access, a power driver's seat with lumbar support, and a power tailgate. The Prestige Plus has the same set of engines and 4WD. The higher cost, depending on the motor, is due to the presence of a lane change alert and a blind spot monitoring system. Aluminum wheels are already 18-inch, therefore, instead of a spare tire, there is only a stowaway, there is navigation, automatic switching from high beam to low beam, and an assistant when driving in reverse. Despite its age, the RAV4, which appeared in early 2013, is already widely represented in the second-hand market. Because of this, prices are quite high compared to competitors, an average of $1.25 million. Classmates for about 100 to 150,000 rubles. Cheaper, although the choice of the most popular of them is less than that of Toyota. You can pick up RAV4 with any equipment, with the exception of the most modest. Perhaps, the front-wheel drive versions are still limited. After all, crossovers are taken from us because of 4WD. But the fact that there are few diesel modifications is no longer quite logical. A heavy fuel engine does not deserve it, and diesel engines are much more widely represented among competitors. And, of course, you need to pay attention to the runs. There are incredible ones at 50 and even 80,000 kilometers. Such figures make one think about how and where the RAV4 was operated.